Hey guys, so today I wanted to talk about insomnia. Keep in mind I'm going to talk about an insomnia that is not secondary to a serious medical condition. If you are somebody who is incredibly exhausted in the beginning of the day, is a loud snorer, or have been told by a partner that you wake up gasping for air in the middle of the night, you need a formal evaluation for obstructive sleep apnea, which is a much more serious condition than just basic insomnia. But when I talk about basic insomnia, I'm talking about those people who either have difficulty falling asleep or wake up very early or wake up repeatedly during the course of the night. When I teach my medical students, I remind them that when you're putting the emphasis of the treatment of a behavioral condition on a tablet, will take away agency from the patient and the actual opportunity to make real change in that patient's life. So let's review what are the main behavioral changes you can do if you're experiencing insomnia. The first thing that I would say, and this comes from a great book called Full Catastrophe Living, which has to do with mindfulness, is that largely insomnia is an anxiety issue, which means people who develop insomnia are super concerned about not falling asleep. Let's unpack that for a second. Why am I so scared of not falling asleep? What is the mental picture that my mind displays? A great exercise for chronic insomniacs might be to actually spend the night awake, without any kind of pressure onto their minds about having to fall asleep, and really testing if all the premises that they have guessed upon, that they were never going to have enough energy to get through the day, that they were going to fail during the course of their day, seeing these events not unravel to reality is a great cognitive experience that allows you to reframe, how do I think about a sleepless night? Furthermore, making that an actual opportunity. I know patients that have spent the night in the park watching the sunrise. Of course, it has to be safe. But what I'm trying to say here is that how about removing the catastrophe element from how we're thinking about an episode of insomnia? In that same line, what can I do at the end of my day to make sure I am landing on my bed with a relaxed mind? I shouldn't be discussing stressful things at the end of the day. I should be preparing my mind in the same way that I would soothe a toddler before their nap time. More practical things. No caffeine consumption in the afternoon and evening, and that also includes caffeinated teas like Ceylon tea and green tea and red tea that also have caffeine. Setting a consistent bed schedule. That means having the time you go to bed and the time you get up from bed consistent through your week. This is especially hard for people who are freelance or people who like to party a lot and are giving their brain mixed messages about what is the actual bedtime. Being consistent will help educate your brain that there's a clear time to go to bed and a clear time to get up from it. That has to do that if you had a very insomniac night and you only have 2 hours of sleep, once the clock hits that time where you're off the bed, you're off the bed. You don't nap, you don't stay in bed longer to make up for the wasted time. Your brain will catch on to the consistency of your new behavior and not the other way around. Finally, and so importantly, screen time. The blue light from our devices and from our TVs impact our circadian cycle by sending mixed messages to our brain about it being actual daytime or nighttime. Our brain needs a consistent message that nighttime is a time of low stimulation where we are to fall asleep. So if you don't make the effort of eliminating screen time at least a few hours before your bedtime, it's no surprise that you're having a lot of trouble falling or staying asleep. Also, there are apps for our phones and tablets and PCs that allow you to decrease the amount of blue light that is actually being projected from the screens. However, ultimately, it's also a matter of stimulation, regardless of what kind of light is coming through the screen. My reflex response to a patient that doesn't sleep is eliminate the TV from the bedroom, because more often than not, they have one. But again, just to go back to that point, nothing is going to be more powerful than you reframing the experience of insomnia. And just for a second, giving it a non-judgmental stare of what are the thoughts in my mind that are helping me relax into my sleep, and what are the thoughts that are playing against me. Remember that we can never control thought with thought. Thought is the secretion of the mind, and it's a natural development. So how do we go about this? We just become neutral observers. Wow, I am so catastrophic when I'm sleepless. The thoughts that go through my mind include, my day will be a mess, my day will be a disaster, I might even get fired today. Just watch the tone with which your mind is projecting a scenario, because ultimately in the present moment, without projected scenarios, it's easy to remain grounded and allow your brain to go into a relaxing state that will prompt easy sleep.